Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into the first article. The first article says Excellence in Diversity. We have the Central Educational Institutions Reservation in Teachers Cadre Act of 2019. According to this law made by the Parliament of India, we have the affirmative action which has to be initiated in all the Indian Institute of Technologies. What is this affirmative action? Because of the historical injustice that which has been committed with reference to specific castes in India, these castes will have to be provided reservations for the faculty hiring in all the Indian Institutes of Technology. Let's say we have the SC/ST caste, we have the OBCs, we have the economically weaker sections. These sections of the people will have to be provided reservations when it comes to the faculty appointment as well as their hiring. So this particular law clearly mandates an affirmative action in the form of reservation that has to be mandated for all the SC/ST community members, for all the people from the economically weaker sections and the OBC sections when it comes to this particular act. This act was brought into picture so that all these sections of the society are made part of the inclusive developmental program. But there is a small issue here. What is the issue? The issue is that we have the affirmative action in the form of reservation, but there are not enough faculty members who are being recruited from this particular section. So we are unable to find enough qualified faculty members as part of the research when it comes to the Indian Institute of Technology. When you look at the statistics in the year 2019 for the IIT Delhi, they had a deficit of about 30% when it comes to the teachers as well. So what will suffer? So students will suffer, the education will suffer, and ultimately the research and development that which is emanating from the Indian Institute of Technology will ultimately be bound to suffer as well. So what is that we have to look at? So there was one of the committees that which was appointed by the Education Ministry. So what was this committee? This committee will suggest the effective implementation of the reservation. So it will look at the pros of this particular legislation, it will look at the cons of this particular legislation, it will try and understand whether this particular legislation as a whole is serving good for the Indian Institute of Technology, and ultimately they would make their recommendations as well. Recently, this committee, after scrutinizing the entire whereabouts of this legislation, has come up with some recommendation. What are these recommendations? First, it says that all the Indian Institutes of Technology should be exempted from reservation. What do we mean by it? Irrespective of which caste he belongs to, irrespective of which community he belongs to, irrespective of who that person is, merit should be the only criteria. If he is able to meet the demands of the merit, irrespective of which caste he comes from, then merit should be the sole criteria, and all the reservations accommodated as the basis should be completely exempted for the Indian Institute of Technology, says the first recommendation given by this particular committee appointed by the Education Ministry. If this particular recommendation cannot be approved, cannot be enforced and implemented, then this particular committee has gone on to say that reservation should only be given at the level of assistant professor, and let's say if there is associate professor and professors at such a level, it should be exempted. So where should the reservation be given? It should be given only at the assistant professor level, but at the professor level and the associate professor level, they should not be given, says this recommendation. And at the same time, let's say for a particular year, for a particular period, there are 10 vacancies which are present in an year. Let's say 5 is reserved for the general merit, let's say about 2 is reserved for the OBC, let's say about 1 is reserved for the economically weaker sections, and 2 for the SC/ST community. So what would happen in that particular year is that, let's say 5 people are not appointed for that particular year, let's say for 2019 and 20. If this is carried forward to the next year, it should be incrementally reduced, says this recommendation. So this particular seat of 5, if it is carried forward for the next year, they have to be de-reserved, says this particular recommendation. So these are some of the recommendations made by the committee appointed by the Education Ministry about the reformation that has to be brought about when it comes to the Indian Institutes of Technology. But there is a small problem here. What is the problem here? The government had come up with a legislation of making all these people inclusive as part of the educational developmental process so that it can empower all these important castes which have been historically discriminated. But if they are completely removed, what would happen? They would not have the educational upgradation and empowerment. In order to overcome this issue, the editorial goes on to suggest some recommendations. What are these recommendations? It is asking for the holistic development of the education sector. Let's say, for example, when you look at certain castes which are not developed, it means they have limited opportunities when they have started off with their educational sector. Let's say they have finished their plus 12, let's say they have finished their plus 10. In all these cases, from these castes, students might not be given opportunities. So what should the government do? The government should make sure it is giving them scholarships. The government should make sure that it is giving them more training when it comes to approaching the IIT examinations, so on and so forth. So what is required is the holistic development of the education system such that students from this particular caste or this particular community are able to crack the exam. So the merit becomes the sole criteria and rest of the things will not fall into picture. So what this article ultimately suggests is that the government should make huge and massive investments when it comes to the education sector. More opportunities should be given to these sections of the society so that they are equally able to contribute for the glory of the Indian Institutes of Technology. Going forward, what we have to ensure is strengthening the diversity and lay the foundation for the kind of scholarship that all these institutions of excellence need is what this article all about. It is this that we have to understand with reference to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about the many challenges of the World Trade Organization. To give boost to the concept of women empowerment and gender equality, the World Trade Organization in nearly 25 years for the first time will be led by a women director general. The article here focuses on the job at hand when they take up the role of director general and their responsibilities. When we look at the global picture in the present scenario, there is rise of the protectionist economic policies where in United States of America, in United Kingdom, what we had is the Trump administration coming up with what is called as the America First policy. So there were large scale tariffs that were imposed, then there were restrictions that were laid with other countries as well. And when it comes to United Kingdom, we also had the policy of Brexit as well. So what it identifies is that countries are looking inwards. It is now the right time to discuss, deliberate, negotiate for balancing the diverse and varied interests of multiple other countries. Then there are a lot of differences, conflicting viewpoints between the developed countries as well as the developing countries, and the Director General will have to rectify, resolve all these differences to accommodate varied interests both of the developed and of the developing countries. So the conflicting viewpoints should be taken into picture and they will have to make sure that all these issues are equally accommodated. The world is also hit by the deadly coronavirus which has terrified the global community, put the lives and economics in peril as well. So the Director General has to work towards carrying out the reforms of the multilateral trading system. Why? Because they have to revive the economy. The World Trade Organization has something called as the special and differential treatment provisions. As the very name denotes, they are special and there is differential treatment. Who are these for? These are for the developing countries. So what are these special and differential treatments? Let's say for example, if there is a particular commitment that which is made in the World Trade Organization, for implementation of this commitment, these developing countries can take a longer period of time for the implementation and enforcement, but that is not the same when it comes to the developed countries. Then there are measures to increase trading opportunities for the developing countries, which is comparatively constricted for the developed countries. Then there are provisions that require all the WTO members, especially that of the developed countries, to safeguard the trade interests of the developing countries. And finally, support should also be provided to all the developing countries so that they have the capacity to carry out the World Trade Organization's work. They are able to handle the disputes and also implement all the technical standards that which have been enforced by other countries world over. The World Trade Organization is also facing the influx of disputes because countries are using the key criteria of national security as a justification for tariffs and non-tariff barriers as well. This particular loophole which is present in the World Trade Organization has been exploited by couple of countries world over, and as a result there is influx of disputes which the World Trade Organization is not able to resolve. And finally, one of the important issues during the COVID-19 crisis is the vaccine nationalism. What is this vaccine nationalism? As we have discussed on this very platform on couple of times, if there is a vaccine development that happens and if this vaccine is given to a country specific people and not to the global community, that is called as the vaccine nationalism. So going forward, the Director General will have to make sure that all the intellectual property rights with respect to an organization, with respect to a country, is not into picture, but instead the global community as a whole, the humanity as a whole is taken into prominence, and every single person in need of the vaccine is vaccinated. So what should they do? They should come up with the voluntary sharing and pooling of intellectual property rights for the global community to fight the menace of the COVID-19. So going forward, as the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that we have to stand for the humanity when it comes to the COVID-19, it becomes very important for the World Trade Organization to remove all barriers with respect to intellectual property and securing a legal framework within the World Trade Organization agreement. And ultimately, the World Trade Organization should identify all those countries which are using the unfair practices, and such countries should be penalized. And what we require is a rule-based order and engagement of all countries to make sure that fair rules exist for all the countries for their own prosperity. It is this that we have to understand with reference to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about Human Development Index. According to the Human Development Report released by the United Nations Developmental Programme, India currently ranks 131 out of the 189 countries. Considering and looking into the past year records, India has seen a drop by 2 ranks according to the United Nations Human Development Index. First thing that we have to understand is how is that this Human Development Index is measured. Basically, when we are looking at the Human Development Index, it is based on 3 important parameters. What are those? One is life expectancy, second is education, and third is per capita income. Kindly remember, when it comes to the Human Development Index, it is one of the best tools to identify the development of a country. Why? Because this particular index considers the social and the economical indicators that are responsible for the development of the country. So what is this all about? What is the significance of HDI? All this has been explained in one of our videos, and the link for the same will also be provided in our description box. So kindly look into it. So what is that we have to understand now? We have to understand the ranking with respect to India. Norway has topped this particular ranking, followed by Ireland and Switzerland. And when it comes to the BRIC countries, we have Russia, which is currently at 52. Then we have Brazil, which is at 84. Then we have China, which is at 85, and South Africa, which is at 114. But India is last when it comes to the BRIC rankings according to the HDI index. When you consider the neighbors, we have Bangladesh, which is at 133, Nepal at 142, and Pakistan at 154 as well. Kindly remember all these ranking because this can be very important from your preliminary examination point of view. But to understand the rest of what this Human Development Index is, link will be given, so kindly follow the link. Now let's look into the next article. This article says US puts India on currency manipulators monitoring list. What is the context? We have the US Treasury which has gone on to label Switzerland and Vietnam as the currency manipulators. What is the meaning of currency manipulators? This is a designation given by the United States of America. Basically, in case there are countries that engage in unfair currency practices that give them some trade advantage, in such a scenario, they will be called as the currency manipulators. According to the Trade Facilitation and Trade Enforcement Act of 2015, United States of America has three benchmarks to judge whether a particular country has become a currency manipulator or not. What are those? Countries must at least have a 20 billion plus bilateral trade surplus with United States of America, foreign currency intervention exceeding 2% of the gross domestic product, and a global current account surplus exceeding 2% of the GDP. In case they are able to meet all these three criteria, such country will be called as the currency manipulators. If one of these or two of these comes under it, then such a country will be put under the monitoring list. When it comes to the present scenario, we have the countries like Taiwan, Thailand, China, Japan, Korea, Germany, Italy, Singapore and Malaysia, including India, which have been put under the monitoring list. What will be the impact? Whenever such a country is put into this particular list, the United States of America's Treasury can give certain recommendations to the President of United States of America. They can ask such countries that fall in this particular list to adopt certain policies to correct the under evaluation that they have reported when it comes to the unfair currency practices. In case they are not able to change it, in case they do not make amendments with it, a designated currency manipulator will be excluded from the United States of America's government procurement contracts. So going forward, all the government procurement contracts with respect to the United States of America will not be taking place in the future, and that will be the major economic clash with the other country. And this monitoring list will also keep a close eye on all these countries, and if they meet all these criteria, then eventually they will also have to comply by the rules of the United States of America. If not, they will also miss out on the government contracts of the United States of America. It is this that we have to understand, but more analysis with respect to this issue will be taken up in our economy this week. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about the liberation war of Bangladesh. The entire analysis of what is this issue all about has been explained on 18th of October 2020, so kindly look into it. Now let's look into some of the preliminary practice questions. Which of the following rights have been declared by the Supreme Court as part of Article 21? We have right to food, right to free legal aid, right against tapping of telephonic conversation, right to reputation, freedom of silence. The answer to this is 1, 2 and 4 only. Why? Because the other two falls under the Article 19 and it is not Article 21. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements about Annapurna scheme. It aims at providing food security to meet the requirements of all the senior citizens who are above 65 years of age. Under the Annapurna scheme, 10 kg of food grains per month are to be provided free of cost to the beneficiary. Which of the above statements is or correct? The answer to this is 2 only. Why? Because according to Annapurna scheme, it is not for all above 65 years of age, but it is for only those who are destitute, which means they do not have any regular income, they do not have any subsistence program, or they do not have the family which take care of them. In such a scenario, all those people who are above 65 years of age and they do not receive the pension under the National Old Age Pension Scheme, only such people will fall under the Annapurna scheme. And as we discussed under the first practice question, we have under Article 21 right to privacy, right to go abroad, right to shelter, right against solitary confinement, right against handcuffing, right against custodial death, so on and so forth. So kindly look into all these important criteria that fall under Article 21. Further, this article, The Long Road to Food Security, speaks about how food security can be enhanced when it comes to India. First, it goes on to say that the government must ensure that remunerative prices are given to the farming community. Why? Because only when the MSPs are given, they would be able to buy more products, and ultimately the food security with respect to the farmers can be accomplished. It further goes on to speak about the Annapurna scheme as well. What is that we have to do with Annapurna scheme? whenever there is a particular scheme that is come up by the government of India, there might be beneficiaries who are included and there would be few who would not be included as well. So identifying the key beneficiaries under the Annapurna scheme is most important, and all the important scheme beneficiaries should be identified and defined scheme objectives has to be accomplished. And at the same time, the article goes on to say that public distribution system has to be improved over a period of time, and if it is possible, pulses will also have to be part of the public distribution system, says this article. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. The POCSO Act defines a child as any person below 16 years of age, and the act is gender neutral. This act follows the general rule of innocent until proven. Which of the above statements are correct? The answer to this is none. Why? Because the POCSO Act defines a child as any person who is less than 18 years of age, and as given in the option, it is also gender neutral as well. And the second option of general rule of innocent until proven guilty is for general scenario. But when it comes to the POCSO Act, the proof of guilty until proven innocent generally comes into picture. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given under this article. So kindly remember both these statements with respect to POCSO. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following is or application of CMS-01 satellite? First, it speaks about the satellite internet access. Second, it speaks about the disaster management support. Third is about telecommunication. The answer to this is all the three statements that are given here are correct. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given under this article. So kindly remember, CMS is one of the communication satellite which was here to provide services in the extended C band of the frequency spectrum, and its coverage will include the Indian mainland and the Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep Islands. The satellite is expected to have a life of more than 7 years. Now let's look into the next practice question. The Constitution confers which of the following rights and privileges only to the citizens of India and denies the same to the aliens? We have Article 14, 15, 16, 19 and 28. The answer to this is 2, 3 and 4. Which are the articles which are only applicable to the citizens? We have Article 15, we have Article 16, 19, 29 and 30. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. The Constitution of India does not allow holding Indian citizenship and citizenship of a foreign country simultaneously. The President shall have the power to make any provision with respect to the acquisition and termination of citizenship. Which of the above statements is or correct? The answer to this is one only. Why? The second statement is wrong because it is not the President but instead it is the Parliament. Why have we taken both these practice questions? Because of the reference in this article. Now let's look into the next practice question. With reference to the history of India, the terms Kulyavapa and Dronavapa it actually denotes the measurement of the land. So it is option A, which happens to be the correct option. Now let's look into the mains answer writing. Should IITs be exempted from the caste-based reservations in faculty hiring? Critically analyze. The World Trade Organization has been considerably weakened and the institution is under considerable pressure. Comment. So please write all your answers on the comment section, peer review and also come up with constructive criticism. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.